he simply explains it as he's world champion, and he intends to stay world champion.
Well, you know, when you think about the money that the title means to him, it kind of explains why he does some of the things he does.
But it's a very prestigious title, and now, of course, the pressure on him even more with the announcement of World Class and World Wrestling Alliance promoting together. And now, as we see right here, he's going to have to wrestle the very best from both of these tremendous organizations.
Mike absorbed 2 tough forearms to the side of the face, and then he pulled the guy down with a hair.
Well, of course, Mike's going to do what he has to hold on to that world title. And, you know, he won the world title and really proved his worth as a professional athlete and a professional wrestler. But, you know, he lost it in a very short period of time to Masachono. And I think that taught him that it's one thing to train and shoot for one goal and become world champion, but it's a much tougher battle to hold on to that title when you face nightly challenges.
Well, this is the first in the series of World Championship matches, 3 in a row. And Mike, it's a tough thing for a world champion to defend 3 consecutive days.
Well, of course, as our fans at home have heard us talk over the recent weeks about the World Championship Series, you're seeing action today from part 1 of the World Championship Series. And, of course, the winner of this match will go on to defend the world title in future days, which will not be televised. But right now, Mike George has to get by this match and this challenger, or he no longer will be world champion.
Yeah, he's got that bar arm, and he's got to bend back quite a ways.
Of course, you know, Bob, I think Mike George can concentrate on any part of the body and work it to the point of making the average wrestler give up. Be it the arm, the leg, the head. He has that knowledge and that ability.
He's got that bar arm. He's got it bent pretty well. Chris Adams suffering a little bit, but Chris Adams is a tough wrestler. He's a worldly wrestler and
well-schooled wrestler. Of course, you know, you can talk about the toughness of professional wrestlers, and obviously it is the toughest sport in the world today. There are no timeouts. There's no shoulder pads. We're looking at a man wrestle tonight for the world title. And this man has a broken hand he suffered from Terry Taylor. He's wrestling with a broken nose. He's wrestling with 2 black eyes and chipped teeth. And he's in here competing for the world title with no protection whatsoever.
That's right. Right now, Mike has got that hammerlock. He's trying to get a chicken wing on it. He's pulling that hammerlock up the back. Hammerlock is a devastating hold. You know,
Sure it is. You know, in amateur wrestling, you're only allowed to bend it to a certain point. When you're in professional wrestling, there's no restrictions at all. Adams down with the elbow. George able to move partially out of the way on that one. Chris Adams with the opportunity of a lifetime here. And talking about World Class and World Wrestling Alliance, of course, Bob, Chris Adams is a former World Class World Heavyweight Champion.
Oh, he's got a great background. He's from England. He knows about everything there is to know about wrestling. Mike has got a slight weight advantage on him. I imagine 20 pounds, would you say?
A good 20 pounds. Mike weighing in at about 273 these days. Adams about 245.
Mike's got a little advantage right at this time, and he's trying to take advantage of it.
Well, Mike's wrestling a smart game right now. He's working on the arm, and of course, in doing so, you notice he has the hand there, and the hand's heavily taped. There's a broken finger on that hand. And if you think a broken finger's not painful, guess again. 5 minutes. 5 minutes expired.
Chris Adams resorted to a 5th. He's hungry. He's trying to get this title.
Well, he wants the title in a bad way, but he also wants a piece of Mike George also. Right now, Adams beginning to throw those punches into Mike George's head. And that's a bare fist. Not necessarily legal, but when you suffer a broken nose and chipped teeth, you do what you have to when you fight back. And Chris Adams has got the sleeper on Mike George. Softened him up with some hard punches to the forehead, and I don't think Mike George was expecting a sleeper this early in the match.
Referee Pat O'Connor's around there making sure it's not a chokehold.
Mike George trying to work his way to the ropes right now, inching closer and closer. Great shot by the camera crew as Mike George tries to get to the ropes, and I believe he's got it. Mike George has found his way to the corner while referee Pat O'Connor calls for the break. And of course, Chris Adams probably only a matter of 15 seconds away from having Mike George in Sleepville.
He's trying to take advantage of the fact that he had Mike George almost out, which kicks to the face.
And now he's really cutting off the oxygen supply to the brain here.
Chris Adams has turned the tide. He's back in command of the match now.
He sure is. Of course, we caught Mike George off guard with the sleeper, and now he's really punishing Mike George. And Mike George is groggy. Mike George is dazed and staggered at this point.
Chris better stay right on top of the situation. He's got him going a little bit right now.
Mike's got some big, powerful legs, but right now they're just a little bit wobbly, Bob Geigel. And Chris Adams again has the sleeper applied for the second time tonight. And Mike George is really in trouble at this point, Bob. Again, Mike George fading. Chris Adams had it. Mike is probably within about 12 inches from those ring ropes. And I don't know if he has the strength to get there, but he's going to need it, or he's going to be out of this very shortly. Mike using what appears to be a pull of the trunks here to break free of the hold. Mike George is really suffering right now, Bob.
Well, Chris Adams has got an advantage right now. He's on top. If he just, he's got to take advantage of being on top.
And it's a big high backdrop, and Mike George is really in trouble at this point, lying flat on his back and a big knee across the upper part of the chest. Count of 2. Bob, we've seen some tremendous action this hour. We've had our first look at Steve Cox. We've had our first opportunity to see the Simpson brothers in action. We've seen the formation of a new tag team in Bulldog, Bob Brown, and Chono. And what a match that would be against the Simpson brothers.
Oh, it'd be tremendous.
And right now we're seeing a world heavyweight title between the WWA World Champion and a WWC Challenger. 10 minutes. 10 minutes expired.
This has been a grueling battle for 10 minutes.
It
it'll
sure
take
has.
its toll.
It sure has. Tremendous match. And right now, Mike George fighting back, and he's pounding away on Chris Adams. We're seeing two men give everything they've got right here. Mike George about to shoot Chris Adams across the ring, and he does, and George in hard! But Chris Adams out of the way, and the only thing there for Mike George was a turnbuckle. And again, and Bob, we saw a little bit of wrestling at first, but right now, they're just going at it. They're throwing punches. They're doing anything they can. They genuinely don't like each other.
That's right. Mike saw an opportunity to get Chris Adams out of the ring, took advantage of it. Chris Adams is out on the floor.
Chris
There
Adams
goes
is
Mike
out.
out after him.
This gives Mike a little bit of a breather right here. Watch out. Watch out. Wait a minute. And it's Chris Adams turning the tide.
Oh.
And Mike George is down hard. Mike George hit that ring post. Full shot with his head.
Referee Pat O'Connor's counting.
And it's Chris Adams firing away at the head of Mike George. Wait a minute. Mike George has been opened up. When Mike George hit that steel ring post, he was lacerated. And a second time, Mike George has just crashed second time hard into that steel ring post. And right now, Chris Adams sending out a little more revenge on Mike George as Mike George's head goes hard into the protective railing here. And the fans are getting behind Chris Adams now. I think they sense a possible change right here.
Chris Adams is hungry, and he's really taking advantage right now.
Chris Adams in excellent position to win the world title right here. And it's Mike George all but out. He's dazed, he's staggered, and he's all but out on his feet right here. And if Mike George has anything left, he's going to have to call on it here to come back. A super kick that caught Mike George in the stomach, and Mike George is really hurting at this point. Beautiful close by Chris
clothesline.
Adams.
We might see a title change chance right
Look
here,
at
Jay.
this. Chris Adams setting him up for the super kick. He's got it. Wait a minute.
Referee Pat O'Connor out on the floor.
Chris Adams partially delivering a super kick. A second one. Mike George is down. It's Chris Adams for the cover. Count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. We could have had a new world champion right here.
That's right.
Pat O'Connor caught by Mike George, and he's out. What a match we're seeing here. Chris Adams off. Wait a minute, Mike George has just jumped Chris Adams over the top rope.
That's right, threw him right over the top rope.
Of course, that's an automatic disqualification right there. But I'm not sure if Pat O'Connor had an opportunity to see it. Dave Peterson is over there assisting Pat O'Connor. Mike George brings Chris Adams in for a suplex, but it's Chris Adams on top. Count of 1, 2, 3, but wait a minute. Wait a minute,
that was Dave Peterson. That was Dave Peterson.
Dave Peterson who made the count. Dave Peterson's not a licensed referee.
He awarded the belt to Chris Adams.
Dave Peterson has just counted Mike George out and awarded the world title to Chris Adams.
Wait a minute, referee Pat O'Connor.
Wait a minute, Pat O'Connor asking for the world title belt.
Referee Pat O'Connor.
Referee has disqualified Mike George. The referee has disqualified Mike George for throwing Chris Adams over the top rope.